having a guy like Garfunkel who sings beautifully, he's your security blanket. Then we fast forward to when you finally have had enough. And, Artie's off making his movies. And he's not playing the game with you anymore. And he's keeping you waiting in the studio. That divorce, that you suddenly saying, that's it, I'm going off on my own.
It wasn't Artie's fault. After we did The Graduate, Mike Nichols, who was the director of The Graduate, said, I'd like you both to be in my next movie, which is Catch-22.
Right.
So we were thrilled. The next summer, he called me up and he said, we wrote the screenplay and it's so long that we have to cut out parts and we cut out your character.
Nice. Great.
So Artie goes to do this, and I was very much in favor of him doing that. In fact, I wrote a song about it, The Only Living Boy in New York.
Right.
It was about him going down to Mexico to shoot Catch-22. But like a lot of movies, it just ran over. And we were in the midst of making Bridge Over Troubled Water. And this was interrupting
your flow.
And Simon and Garfunkel were at their peak.
Yep.
Then, after The Graduate, Artie was understandably excited about being in a movie with very
accomplished
gifted
people.
What was going on in the studio, though, was a real tug of war about taste and how to do it. It wasn't just the movie. It was also, we didn't agree about, we're friends since we were 12 years old, but our musical inclinations are quite different. And so we would have disagreements, and the disagreements could be, real arguments that could stop a session cold. So that was happening at the same time, and we were having to wait for Artie to get released from his shooting schedule to come back to New York to start, to fill in. Meanwhile, his head is really in
the movie,
which is understandable.
I get it.
Chuck Grodin, who was in Catch-22, was an Artie's friend, and Artie introduced him to me, and Chuck and I became very good friends. Chuck said, Artie is doing Mike's next movie. And I said, no, I didn't know that Artie's doing Mike's next movie.
Was that Carnal Knowledge?
Carnal Knowledge.
Yeah.
So I said to Artie, are you going to go and do another movie now? And he said, yeah. And I said, why didn't you tell me? I just heard it from Chuck Grodin. He said, I was afraid if I told you, you would stop working on Bridge Over Troubled Water. And I thought, I got to get out of here.
Yeah, good for you.
When we left, well, first of all, I came up to Clive Davis, who was the president of Columbia, and I said, I'm going to leave. And he said, that's the biggest mistake of your life.
Shows you what he knows.
And I said, well, maybe someday at the end of my career, people will say, and in the beginning of his career, he was part of a duo, Simon and Garfunkel, But Clive said, look, I wish you good luck, but as a record company president, it's really a hard blow for me to lose the biggest selling act that we have on the label. We would have broken up anyway.
Right.
Duos don't stay together.